What's up, fam? Hey, thank y'all for tuning in again. As always, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment. And when you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Today, I want to talk about something that Mr. Roland Martin said in a video recently. It was a short clip on his Roland Martin Unfiltered video channel, and he talked, and the title of this was, and he said, and I quote, "Fool, in 2020, it was Trump and his white nationalist or Biden." And so basically in this short clip, which I don't even think it took him a minute to address this situation, he was saying how in the 2020 election, there are only two candidates. And if he had a choice to pick between Biden and Trump, overwhelmingly, he said there was no conversation. We're going to pick Biden. He was going to pick Biden. Well, let me read my notes and we'll go on through it as we go. So, like I was saying, Roland Martin stated that, quote, like I say, "Fool, in 2020 it was Trump and his white nationalists or Biden." Now, he made the points of saying the Republican Party wants to take over the House and Senate and win the White House in 2024. Well, basically that's any political party that's trying to control the government. That's what you're going to try to do, right? Republicans, Democrats, Tea Party, Independents, Greenhouse, or whatever party it is. That's going to always be their agenda. He also stated that Republicans won't support any civil rights investigations about justice, which, okay, I understand that. They say the Republicans will not support any police consent decrees. And he stated how they moved the money that was used to investigate white domestic terror, which was like the FBI said was like the #1 terrorist group in America, and he used it to investigate the Muslims. He also admits that Biden is not perfect, but if I had to choose between Trump and Biden, I'm both going to go to Biden. And also on this panel, he had 3 sisters supporting him, but they looked to me a little uncomfortable while the man was talking. And because he said that between Trump and Biden, there's no discussion. But what I want to say is, Mr. Martin, not so fast. Because truth be told, there were actually more than 2 candidates that ran for president that year. As a matter of fact, the Democrats initially had 29 candidates at the beginning before the Democratic primary. 18 of these candidates withdrew due to low polling, fundraising, and media coverage, which, I mean, it happens all the time. Anytime you have an election, whether it's the president, governor, mayor, what have you, city council, you'll always have a number of people who throw their hat into the race. But once it comes down to who has the financing to be able to go door to door or to run the ad campaigns or to get the flyers out, to meet the people, most of the time it boils down to money. Who you know and how much money you have. So that goes without saying. 18 bowed out. But in the beginning, if you recall, there's a guy by the name of Mayor Pete. Make sure I get his name right. Buttigieg. If I'm saying it wrong, forgive me. But he won in the Iowa caucus. That's what we're talking about. He won most of the delegates in the Iowa caucus, but Bernie Sanders won the popular vote. Usually the Iowa caucus is like the first big push that these candidates on either side go to, because for some, it helps dictate how the election is going to go. Who's going to win the election for whatever party. So, like I said, the Mayor G.R.O.W.T.H won the most delegates, but Bernie Sanders won the popular vote. Remember that. And then he also won in New Hampshire and Nevada. Bernie Sanders, Senator Sanders, won in New Hampshire and Nevada, which made him the front runner. Then somehow Biden made an historical comeback in South Carolina, thanks to the Black American vote. And for some reason, this past election, just like the election before when Trump actually won, for some reason Democrats do not like Bernie Sanders. Now, Bernie Sanders' platform always has been based on the people, helping out the common man. Like, for instance, everyone being able to afford health care, because he feels, forget a civil right, it's a God-given right for people to, be taken care of, to live, to be able to live healthy, especially in this country, supposed to be like one of the richest countries in the world. And the majority of us pay astronomical prices for minimum basic health care coverage. But Bernie Sanders' platform runs on basic socialism. Like I said, health care for everyone. Now, Bernie Sanders, if you look at the stories, the research, he's loved by the young voters. But the problem is, young voters do not turn out. Did not turn out as much in the main, in the election, in a presidential election, as they did like in the general polls. But I think the biggest problem dealing with Bernie Sanders is, the reason why Bernie Sanders did not win amongst the Black Americans, because like, again, most Black Americans voted for Joe Biden. And it's because, for some reason, we have this problem where we feel we have to be part of a group. We can never try nothing different. And Roland Martin, you're no different in that. You pushed Joe Biden, one, because, he was Obama's vice president. Even though Joe Biden has historically been seen hanging around known Ku Klux Klan leaders, praising them, going to their funerals, calling them his mentors. We know that Joe Biden spearheaded this bill, this mass incarceration bill back in the mid-90s that put a lot of our brothers and sisters in prison for astronomical years for offenses that did not warrant it. But if they did, then on the flip side, when other groups were doing the same thing, they didn't get these sentences. So now you're seeing a lot of these politicians are dismissing a bunch of these minor marijuana cases, some of these, these minor offenses that cause people to go to jail for 20, 30 years or even life. And a lot of stuff is getting turned over because people are realizing that these sentences are like ridiculous. But for Roland Martin, you helped spearhead the movement to get Biden elected. Talking about a guy that when he go on interviews, no one asked him tough questions. It's like they soft tossed him a lot of questions. The same guy who made y'all believe that he was going to put an Aboriginal Black American sister as his running mate to the White House. And he picks Kamala Harris, who family is not from here. She might, I think she's born here, I'm not sure. Anyway, but her parents are Indian and Jamaican or Caribbean or what have you. They're not from here, but you pick somebody who really ain't us, kind of like Obama become a president. And everybody said, oh, first black president. Yeah, but he wasn't really the first black American president. I mean, Aboriginal Black American president. That's really, descendant of a slave. Let's say it like that. He wasn't our president, and Kamala Harris is not our vice president. Same guy who, when Ice Cube had a plan for Black America, And he wanted to talk to any candidate, all candidates. It didn't matter if it was Trump, Biden, whoever that was running for president. He wanted to talk to them first because he knew, just like a lot of us brothers knew. You've been voting Democrat for so long and you haven't got anything tangible from these parties. So now people are saying, hey, before you vote for somebody just because they're part of the Democratic Party, and I've had people tell me, it's like older people, when you talk politics, I'm trying to talk politics at work, but when you talk politics, older people, older black Americans like to chime in and say, I'm just voting straight Democratic Party, no matter what, not a Republican. It's like, well, them people, you can't get across to them. But anyway, when Ice Cube came out with this plan for black Americans, and he wanted to talk to all candidates, he was attacked by his own people because he wouldn't talk to Trump's people. No one mentions now that he tried to talk to Biden's people and they said, oh, we'll talk to you after the election. But yet, I don't believe that conversation has happened yet. But the problem is, again, we vote for a party that historically hasn't done anything for you. So you had a brother who said, look, before we vote for you, I need this, this, and this, because that's what everybody else does. LGBTs, Asian Americans, what have you. They come and they say, hey, this is the agenda. Because first, remember, when Obama was president, he told that excuse saying that, well, the reason why, couldn't do nothing for black Americans because they didn't come with an agenda. Okay, so Brother Ice Cube and others that got together with him came with an agenda. Brought an agenda to the candidates way ahead of the election and said, here's our agenda. What can you do for us? And one party in particular did not talk to him. Said they would talk to him after the election. And like I said, that has not happened. So now you see how Asian Americans got this, anti-Asian hate bill, got millions of dollars, just like that, over a couple of crazy homeless people attacking Asians on camera, just out the blue. What the hell's going on? But then when you look at the stories, and shout out to Uncle Philip Scott, Uncle Philip Scott, on his show, he was saying how he was showing how the FBI was showing how that black Americans were the target of more hate crimes. I mean, thousands of hate crimes were the targets compared to a few of the Asian American group. But yet, we're getting no law. We can't, remember that George Floyd law that they swore they was gonna pass? Once the election is over with and all this other stuff, and it was over with, and then the COVID-19 was gonna take care of all that, and then we're gonna take care of the George Floyd bill. That never passed. As of this video, which is October the 3rd, it still hasn't passed, and they're not even close to resolving that issue. But yet, just the other day, Biden signs a bill with the a funding bill, to where he's given $6.3 billion to help support the resettlement of Afghanistan evacuees, which is what? How many people was it? Is it 2,000 or 20,000? But what happened? But if you break it down to individual, man, woman, child, that's a $30-something thousand check for every last one of them who came over here. After 20 years of Americans spending billions and trillions of dollars to build that infrastructure and to build that military to get them running right. And when America pulls out, the Taliban takes over immediately. So then they fly all these Afghans over here, and now they're finna give them money, or help to resettle these people. But you had Haitians at the south of the border, 15,000 of them, and somehow in a matter of days. Got them all on planes and shipped them either back to Haiti or brought them to America so they can be processed and probably shipped right back to Haiti. But this is the guy you voted for. But like I said, but back to my point is, Roland, you try to put the blame saying that it was only 2 candidates. But again, that's not true. That's not truth at all. That's not true at all. You know, let's bring me to a story I can say real quick about when I was back in school, and one of my clinical instructors, and me and her would have a conference, and it seemed like a lot of stuff I wasn't understanding. And she said the problem is you don't ask enough questions. Want to solve a problem, you have to get to the root of the problem. He said you gotta ask why until you can't ask why no more. So if you say we only had 2 candidates, why we only had 2 candidates? Well, that's because you didn't want the 2 front runners in this past election. You didn't want them. You wanted Biden because that was Obama's boy. Like I said, you had many candidates that with all the money and time and energy you spent trying to push Biden, could have used that same energy to say, hey, candidate so-and-so, this is what they believe. This is what they're about. This candidate, this is what their beliefs and what they're about. And this is their agenda. This candidate, this is what they're going to do for Black Americans. This is what they're going to say. This is what they're going to do. Try to tell us, oh, we can't promise anything for a certain group of people, and we can't do anything until after the election. But you already promised LGBT and Asian people stuff before the election, before we even got to vote. But nobody wants to talk about that. Bernie Sanders told you what he was about for everybody across the board. But you don't want to talk about that. The problem is I think our people are afraid of change. Nobody wants to do anything different. We're fine as long as we get, as they say, some butter biscuits, some tea cakes, some cookies, whatever the heck, some lemonade, tea, whatever the heck they feeding us to make us feel good for a moment. We're fine with it. Although they're doing so much against us and not doing anything for us. Now, it not necessarily have to say that they're going to get in the office and they're going to bring back slavery or increase the prison rate for minor crimes against Black people or pull us over more, stuff like that. But it goes back to, like I said, I heard in the Dark Knight movie, or the first Batman reboot, the first movie of the last series, when Batman was fighting Ra's al Ghul on the train, and he had him pinned down, and Ra's al Ghul knew that he trained Bruce Wayne not to be a killer, but to be a defender. And so he had him pinned down, and Ra's al Ghul assumed that Batman was going to let him up and take him with him to go to prison. But Batman learned, after all those years of training, he learned, and he said, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you either. And that is what I'm seeing from the Biden administration. Like I said, they don't have to do anything else to hurt us. But the way it looks, they're not trying to help us either. But they're helping everybody else. And they're just going to leave us to fight for our own defenses, which is a good thing. Because hopefully maybe this will get us to come together, do what we need to do as a people, as one, and build ourselves up. But so many of us, Roland Martin, are too dependent on the political parties. Yes, you need politics, I understand. You need government to do things, I understand it. But some things you don't need it for. Sometimes you gotta say, you know what? I can't depend on you no more. I gotta depend on myself. Hell, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out fighting. If I'm gonna die, I might as well die doing what I need to do for myself and not depending on anybody in the political forum to help us out. But that's pretty much all I need to say about this. Like I said, Roland Martin, you can sit there and try to make us believe that yes, we only had 2 candidates. But that's your fault. That's partially your fault. And all your minions and everybody else that followed you and everybody that pushed you, y'all created this two-party system. Y'all created this two-party system. We had to be Republicans versus Democrats, blacks versus white, good and evil, Crips and Bloods, whatever you want to call it. And you helped push this. You guys in the power to where you can do different. So when the next election come around, I don't want to hear this. We voting Democrats. We're gonna put Biden in. Sure the heck don't want to hear this. Kamala Harris gonna be put in because I ain't heard shit from her since she been in office. And got her people down there getting, like I said, deported back to their country so quick, and she ain't said a word. She's supposed to be the queen of the border, right? And they heard nothing from her. But anyway, tell me what you think. Think I'm wrong about this whole situation? Think I got a little validity to my story? Because like I said, we had a whole bunch of candidates that could have been the front runner for the Democratic Party. Matter of fact, didn't even have to go with the Democratic Party. Could have did independent, could have did any other party. Could have found any candidate to back. They ain't gotta have all the money. All you gotta do, if every black American finds somebody who claims they're gonna do something, but I'd rather get somebody who said they're gonna do something for us, you know? And back them, no matter what kind of money they have, you back them, you put your vote behind them. I mean, it ain't gonna, number one, ain't gonna do nothing but help us. Number two, is gonna show the world exactly the power that we have. Because they're already afraid of us anyway, getting together and doing for ourselves. That's the number one thing that a lot of us are not realizing. They're afraid of that. And they know what we'll do once we get together and, and band together. But we have to do it. We gotta do something different. We gotta make a change. The change starts with us. Change starts at home. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. As always, like I say, thank y'all for tuning in. Again, like, share, comment, and always, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be notified. Again, if you want to support the channel, hey, look in the description box below. Click the links, the website link, go to the website, buy some merchandise. If you got your own YouTube channel, click that up. If you're trying to start a YouTube channel, click that tube buddy link. I promise you, it'll help you streamline your channel, help creating videos and making your channel, build your channel up. It'll help run a little smoother. Still a little work, still gonna take some time for you to build the audience you want. It's not an overnight thing. I can tell you that from experience. But sometimes you might catch that lightning in the bottle and you gotta be prepared for it and be ready for it. But again, if you want to start a YouTube channel, click that tube buddy link. And with that being said, I leave you the same way I always come in. Just with peace.